Lakers Nation, welcome back to Lakers News Fan Report, your ultimate source for breaking news, exclusive updates, and all the insider information you need about our Los Angeles Lakers. I'm about to share something with you today that could fundamentally alter the landscape of the entire NBA. Something that has the potential to catapult this franchise back into dynasty territory. And I need you to stick with me through every word of this, because the implications are absolutely staggering for our championship aspirations this season and beyond. Let me start by setting the stage for where we are right now as a team. The Lakers just secured a massive 112-108 victory over the Philadelphia 76ers on Sunday night, a statement win that officially moved us into the number 2 spot in the Western Conference standings. Think about that for a second. We're sitting at 17-6, we've won 9 of our last 11 games, and we're playing some of the most cohesive, dominant basketball we've seen from this organization in years. The chemistry is clicking, the defensive intensity is there night after night, and our big three of Austin Reeves, Luka Doncic, and LeBron James is proving to be one of the most formidable trios in the entire league. Every night these guys step on the court, they're giving us a legitimate chance to beat anyone, and that's the foundation you need when you're building toward a championship run. But here's the reality that every serious championship contender has to face at some point during the season. Being good isn't enough in this league. Being really good still might not be enough when you're going up against teams that have multiple superstars, elite depth, and championship experience. The Western Conference is absolutely loaded this year with teams that can beat you on any given night, and when you get to the playoffs, the margin for error becomes razor thin. One injury, one cold shooting night, one bad matchup, and suddenly your season is over. That's why championship organizations are always looking for ways to improve, always searching for that one move that can take them from being a really good team to being an unstoppable force that nobody wants to face in a 7-game series. The Lakers front office understands this better than anyone. They've shown over the past year that they're willing to be aggressive, to make bold moves, and to go all in when they see an opportunity to upgrade the roster. Just look at what happened in February when we acquired Luka Doncic. That was a franchise-altering trade that immediately elevated our ceiling and gave us a legitimate second superstar to pair with LeBron. Then, in the offseason, management didn't rest on their laurels. They went out and signed Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton in free agency, 2 proven veterans who bring exactly what we needed on both ends of the floor. Smart gives us that defensive intensity and playmaking, while Ayton provides rim protection and interior presence that makes us so much tougher to score against. These moves weren't accidents. They were calculated decisions designed to give Luka the supporting cast he needs to thrive and to maximize LeBron's remaining prime years. Now, everything I just described would normally be enough for most franchises to feel satisfied with where they're at. But the Lakers have never been a franchise that settles for good enough, and right now there's a situation developing across the league that has the potential to change everything we thought we knew about this season. I'm talking about a scenario that involves one of the most dominant players in basketball, a 2-time MVP, an NBA champion, and someone who has expressed clear frustration with his current situation. The pieces are starting to align in a way that could make the impossible suddenly very possible. And Lakers fans need to understand what's happening behind the scenes, because this could be the move that defines this era of Lakers basketball. Milwaukee Bucks superstar Giannis Antetokounmpo is not happy. That's not speculation, that's not media fabrication, that's the reality of what's been communicated through various channels over the past few months. The Bucks have been struggling this season. They're not playing at the level everyone expected, and for a competitor like Giannis, who has championship aspirations and is in the prime of his career, watching his team underperform and fail to build a legitimate contender around him is incredibly frustrating. He's already won a championship in Milwaukee. He's given that organization everything he has, and now he's looking around the league and seeing other superstars teaming up, creating dynasties, and competing for multiple titles. Can you blame him for wanting that same opportunity? According to reports that came out last Thursday, Giannis actually requested a trade a few months ago. This isn't some vague desire or casual interest. This was an actual request to be moved from Milwaukee because he wants to win at the highest level. His first choice was reportedly the New York Knicks, which makes sense given the market size, the history of that franchise, and the pieces they have in place. But here's where things got complicated. The Knicks weren't willing to give up more than Karl Anthony Towns in trade discussions, and that simply wasn't enough value for Milwaukee to consider moving their franchise cornerstone. When you're trading a player of Giannis's caliber, you need to get back a package that includes multiple first-round picks, young talent with star potential, and players who can contribute immediately. One all-star center isn't going to cut it, no matter how good that player is. But here's where this story takes an absolutely fascinating turn, and this is the information that should have every Lakers fan on the edge of their seat right now. The Lakers inquired about Giannis. Let that sink in for a moment. Our front office reached out to Milwaukee to explore what it would take to make a trade happen. But it gets even better than that. Luka Doncic himself personally inquired about the possibility of the Lakers working out a deal to bring Giannis to Los Angeles. Think about what that means. Our superstar player, the guy we just traded for less than a year ago, is actively recruiting and trying to facilitate a trade that would bring another MVP-caliber talent to this team. That's not just tampering or casual interest. That's Luka seeing an opportunity to create something special and taking initiative to make it happen. Now let's talk about why this makes so much sense from every possible angle. First, from Giannis's perspective, he wants to win championships, and what better situation could you ask for than joining a Lakers team that already has LeBron James, Luka Doncic, and a supporting cast that includes proven winners like Marcus Smart and DeAndre Ayton. Imagine being Giannis and having the opportunity to play alongside two of the best playmakers in basketball, knowing that you'll never see a double team again because defenses simply won't be able to load up on you. The spacing would be incredible. The offensive versatility would be off the charts. And offensively, you'd have the personnel to switch everything and suffocate opposing offenses. That's a championship recipe if there ever was one. From the Lakers' perspective, this is the move that could cement LeBron's legacy and give us multiple championship opportunities over the next several years. LeBron is 40 years old now, and while he's still playing at an incredibly high level, we all know the window won't stay open forever. Every season matters, every opportunity to add elite talent matters, and when a player like Giannis becomes available, you have to explore it aggressively. Luka is 26 years old and entering his absolute prime. Giannis is 30 and still in the middle of his prime, and you'd have the perfect blend of veteran leadership from LeBron combined with two superstars who can carry the franchise for years to come. That's not just a championship team for this season, that's a potential dynasty that could dominate the Western Conference for the next half-decade. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. What would it take to actually make this trade happen? What assets do the Lakers have that would be valuable enough for Milwaukee to consider moving their franchise player? This is where things get really interesting because the Lakers do have one asset that could be the centerpiece of a deal, and that's Austin Reaves. I know that's going to be a tough pill to swallow for a lot of you because Reaves has been absolutely phenomenal for us this season. He's averaging career highs across the board. He's become one of our most reliable two-way players, and he's shown that he has legitimate all-star potential. Trading a 26-year-old who's on a team-friendly contract and just scratching the surface of his abilities is not something you do lightly. But here's the harsh reality of championship basketball. When you have the opportunity to acquire a player like Giannis Antetokounmpo, you have to be willing to part with really good players to make it happen. Giannis is a two-time MVP, a Defensive Player of the Year, an NBA champion, and one of the most unique physical specimens the league has ever seen. He's 7 feet tall, with the ability to handle the ball like a guard, attack the rim with unmatched ferocity, and defend multiple positions at an elite level. There are maybe 5 players in the entire NBA who you could argue are more valuable than Giannis, and none of them are available. So yes, if it takes Austin Reeves as the centerpiece of a trade package that also includes draft picks and maybe another rotation player, you have to seriously consider making that move. The Lakers have shown they're willing to make these kinds of aggressive decisions when the opportunity presents itself. They traded away young assets and draft picks to get Anthony Davis, and that move led directly to a championship in 2020. They made the bold move to acquire Luka Doncic, giving up significant pieces to make it happen, and that's paid off tremendously with how well he's integrated into this system. The front office has earned our trust through their willingness to be aggressive and their track record of making moves that elevate this team's championship ceiling. If they believe that trading Reeves for Giannis is the move that puts us over the top, I'm inclined to trust that judgment, even though it would hurt to see Austin go. Let's talk about what a potential lineup would look like if this trade actually happens. You'd be looking at a starting 5 of Marcus Smart at point guard, Luka Doncic at shooting guard, LeBron James at small forward, Giannis Antetokounmpo at power forward, and DeAndre Ayton at center. That is legitimately the most talented starting 5 in the entire NBA. The offensive versatility would be unprecedented because you'd have 4 players who can create their own shot, make plays for others, and score from all 3 levels. Smart would provide elite perimeter defense and secondary playmaking. Luka would be your primary offensive engine, with his ability to score and create for others. LeBron would do what LeBron does, making winning plays on both ends and providing championship leadership. Giannis would be your rim-running, lob-catching defensive anchor who can also take guys off the dribble and get to the basket at will. And Ayton would give you rim protection, rebounding, and another lob threat that keeps defenses honest. Defensively, that lineup would be absolutely suffocating. You'd have the ability to switch 1 through 4 on almost any action. You'd have multiple elite defenders who can guard the opponent's best players, and you'd have rim protection from both Giannis and Ayton that would make scoring in the paint incredibly difficult. In today's NBA, where offense is king and teams are scoring 120 points regularly, having a defense that can get stops in crucial moments is what separates championship teams from everyone else. This Lakers team would have that defensive identity while also possessing the offensive firepower to outscore anyone in a shootout. The fit between Giannis and Luka is particularly intriguing from a basketball perspective. Luka is one of the best passers in the league and thrives in pick-and-roll situations where he can either score himself or find open teammates. Giannis is one of the most devastating role men in basketball history because of his combination of size, speed, and finishing ability. Imagine Luka running pick-and-roll with Giannis 20 times a game. How do you defend that? If you go under the screen, Luka pulls up and drains a 3. If you fight over the screen, Giannis is rolling to the rim with a full head of steam, and Luka is going to find him for an easy dunk. If you trap Luka, he's going to make the right read and find the open shooter or hit the short roll man. That's an unsolvable offensive action that would generate high-quality shots possession after possession. Beyond the on-court fit, there's also the market and legacy considerations that make this move so appealing. The Lakers play in Los Angeles, the second-largest media market in the country, and Giannis would have endorsement opportunities and off-court earning potential that simply doesn't exist in Milwaukee. He'd be playing alongside LeBron James, one of the most famous athletes in the world, and Luka Doncic, one of the most popular international players in basketball. The exposure and platform that comes with being a Laker is something that matters to players, especially when they're thinking about their brand and their life after basketball. Giannis has already established himself as one of the greats, but winning multiple championships in LA would put him in a completely different stratosphere historically. Now, I want to be realistic about the challenges and obstacles that could prevent this trade from happening. First, Milwaukee might simply decide they're not ready to trade Giannis regardless of what he wants. They could believe they can turn things around this season make some roster adjustments, and convince him to stay long-term. Second, other teams are going to be involved in trade discussions if Giannis becomes available. The Lakers won't be the only franchise calling Milwaukee, and there will be competitive offers from other contenders who also see this as their opportunity to land a superstar. Third, the financial logistics of making this trade work under the salary cap are complicated. The Lakers would need to match salaries, potentially take back contracts they don't want, and navigate luxury tax implications that could be significant. But despite all those challenges, I genuinely believe this is a realistic possibility that Lakers fans should be paying close attention to. The fact that Luka personally reached out about this shows you how serious the interest is from our side. The fact that Giannis has already requested a trade shows you he's ready to move on from Milwaukee. And the fact that the Lakers have a legitimate trade package centered around Austin Reaves gives us a real chance to put together an offer that Milwaukee would have to seriously consider. This isn't some fantasy scenario cooked up by fans on social media. This is a legitimate situation that could develop over the coming weeks and months. The timing of when this trade could happen is also worth discussing. We're still relatively early in the season, and Milwaukee might want to see if they can turn things around before making any drastic moves. But if the Bucks continue to struggle and fall further out of playoff contention, the pressure to move Giannis before the trade deadline will intensify. Teams that are out of contention don't want to risk losing a superstar for nothing in free agency, so they'll look to maximize return while they still have leverage. The NBA trade deadline is typically in early February, which gives us a few more months for this situation to develop, but things can move quickly in this league when a star player becomes available. I'm incredibly optimistic about where this team is headed, regardless of whether the Giannis trade happens. We're playing championship-level basketball right now. We have the pieces to compete with anyone, and the front office has shown they're committed to doing whatever it takes to bring Banner 18 to Los Angeles. But if we can pull off a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, we're not just talking about being championship contenders, we're talking about being overwhelming favorites who would have the most talented roster in basketball. That's the kind of move that changes franchises, that creates dynasties, and that gives us multiple opportunities to cut down nets over the next several years. So here's what I need from all of you watching this right now. Would you trade Austin Reaves and additional assets to bring Giannis Antetokounmpo to the Lakers? Do you think this trade is realistic or just wishful thinking? And how do you see a big three of LeBron, Luka, and Giannis competing for championships? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I want to hear from Lakers Nation on this massive potential move. Make sure you're subscribed to Lakers News Fan Report and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single update. I'm bringing you breaking news, detailed analysis, and insider information you won't find anywhere else. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this breakdown, share this video with every Lakers fan you know, and let's keep building this community together as we chase championship number 18. Lakers Nation, the future is incredibly bright. Let's go get this championship.